once I get to the top mark, if I do have any on, I'll be easing that right off and just trying to create a lot of power and depth in the sail for the reach.
You just go through talking about light weather tacking of the boat, like just your processes between, are you setting speed and then just go through your routine, how you go through it?
Yeah, it doesn't change too much through the range. Ideally, well, to be honest, in all conditions, you want to find the flattest area. You know, you don't want to be tacking in big waves or anything, and obviously and good speed. And then it's a function of in the lighter breeze not turning too hard. I guess it's the biggest thing through the ranges is the amount, the speed that you tack or turn the rudders. Because as you know, as soon as you turn the rudders, the boat starts slowing down. So you do need maximum speed in all conditions, and obviously nice flat water if you can. You know, the flattest part of the water that you can find. Obviously.
Body positioning, are you sort of moving your body back or forwards?
Yeah, so sitting in the lighter breezes, I'm sitting quite far forward, and then if the sea condition is fairly flat water, then I don't feel like I need to get too far back. But if there is quite a few waves around, then you do need to sort of shuffle back and pop those bows out, or else if you do get a wave, they'll just like smack into the sides and either stop you from turning or slow your turn right down, and then it'll be hard to come out on the other side. Once you get, so the process, I guess, is you're setting up for attack. You're looking for a nice flat piece of water, making sure you're going nice and fast. Start to turn the tillers, and I'm sort of shifting back a little bit, sitting on the decks, and as soon as the boat sort of comes head to wind, throw the tiller out the back, switch sides, scoop the tiller up again, and then the first thing I'm kind of not easing, or I'm not mentally easing much main, but as you do come through, I think you do ease a little bit, which is not a bad thing. And the first thing I'm doing once I've got the boat back on track is making sure the rotation has gone through. So that's the most important thing, I think, for building speed out of the tack. If that takes a little bit extra time, or it doesn't happen straight away, then the sail is just not going to be the right shape, and it's terribly slow. So in most breezes, in the lighter breezes anyway, this kind of rotates itself as the breeze gets up and you start using more and more control. So it's harder for the rotation to do itself because of the amount of force on the boom, forcing the mast as it is now. And as the if you've got a lot of vang on or Cunningham, what have you, the mast has to push everything back. When you rotate through there, it needs to push the whole force that you're pulling forward on it with the vang, main sheet, everything. So in the windier breezes with everything on, it's a lot harder for the rotator to do itself. So a couple of options, obviously, your easing vang, which is before the tack, but make sure it gets re-cleated, or else then you can't pull it on the other side. So
that I can, going into attack,
yep.
just blow it, and then when you pull it on the other side, it stops the problem. Because I had that problem too many times that I thought it was back in the fleet, and you can't fleet it.
Yeah, so there, Rowdy's got a good system there. Obviously, the length is super critical where those knots need to be. If that works for you, then that's good. But yeah, so in pretty much any breeze, the first thing I'm looking at after I get to the new side is making sure the mast rotation is chopped through, because that, as you know, especially you feel it in the breeze. If you kick that through and you're not ready for it, the boat just powers up straight away and you're off. So and yeah, so that's sort of tacking. And what I found at the Nationals when it was really windy, again, you definitely need a flat spot to tack in, and I felt like I could turn the boat a lot quicker. And I didn't let go of the tiller in the light and the windier stuff, because I felt like you needed to push the tiller right over, and because there's obviously a lot of breeze, a lot of waves, everything sort of against you to tack, you need to have that helm right down and the tiller's turned the whole way through the tack. I found in the light you can kind of the rudders don't tend to centre up as quickly as it does in the breeze. And I notice if I turn the boat, flick the tiller at the back, and by the time I've come around and grabbed the tiller again, in the wind, the rudders are straight and you're in irons. So you really need to, in the windier stuff, turn the boat a little bit quicker than you do in the light, and hold it down there so the boat will turn the whole time through, so it gets onto the new tack. I guess, as I say, as much as on centre, I pull the traveller quite hard. My traveller position's a little bit further forward, so I've got a bit of stretch. So I guess it's about 50 mils down most of the time. I have played around with having it maybe 100 mils down in the really light stuff, and going a little bit freer, a little bit lower. I think Terry told me in the first year he always had it down that far, and I tried that and it felt okay, but I've always kind of graduated to having the traveller fairly close to the centre, and I think it. Yeah, yep. Again, I haven't gone down, and this is in the lighter conditions, but I can definitely see it working, especially if you don't have to, if you can't be, in the chop you can't point as high, so you just sort of trap down a little bit and free it off. I think it would probably work fairly well. And then, like we talked about at the Nationals, as the wind gets up, increasing, each time you're just dropping the traveller down another 100 mils, what I found. And like I think what a lot of people have blown away at the Nationals, I was probably 400 mils down in that windy day on the first day. And you're not going to go as high as someone else, but it kind of frees the boat up. If your trav's too high, then you just it's too much return, too much. You're just holding too much power, and it's really hard to sail. The boat's kind of staggering, and especially when there's 20, 30 knots, you're going to have a bit of seaway. So if you're trying to go high and stalling out, you're just not driving through the waves. So that we had, I think, 30 to 35 knots on the first day of Nationals towards the end of that race. So Paulie was telling us, and I had to travel a long way down, and just lots of Cunningham on. I use in the breeze, I tend to use a lot of Cunningham, just to blade out, flatten the top of the sail, blades out the top.
So what sort of measurement are you talking about with lots of Cunningham? What are you, like your marks?
You've got like 6 to probably until you can't pull it in.
As hard as I can pull it. I'm like wrapping around my hand and then pulling it. And, there is a point, I think you can go too much and then haven't got that far yet, but I think you just end up too much, too flat and too open, so you do have to be careful about that. But I think you can pull them a lot harder than you think. This is if if it's out of control type, 25 above. But I found the traveller, have been the biggest thing. And talking, like we had a powwow at the Nationals in the second day that it was even too windy, so we didn't go out, and even the bigger guys like Scott and that were
doing the same thing.
They had the Traveller quite high, and I just sailed past them up the second beat, and I was just holding on, you know, and going for it, but the boat was going fast and going through the waves. It was going, you know, you do go a bit lower, but you know, in these boats, if you're going fast and low, then it's normally it's nearly better, you know, it's nearly fast. It's fast, you know. If you're staggering and chopping wood and battling with it, you know, getting hit by the big gusts and heeling the boat over, and if you can find a nice mode, trap down, you know, keep the hull just flying, or you know, rather than the big ups that getting the gusts, then you're going to be going fast, and you know, in that breeze, you're just looking at hitting the ley line, really. You don't want to be doing too many tacks. And Evans Bay, we had to do a few because it wasn't wide enough for a one tacker, but it made it exciting, made it interesting. But in that breeze, you just want to minimise your movements and your manoeuvres, really, and get around the track. It's more survival. But having the Traveller down, I felt like it was really a real good mode.
Yeah, Derek, I can say from being a bigger bloke, I was 95 kilos in a blow.
Yeah.
And even I would be down past the toe straps.
So, even more. Yeah.
So you'll still get your height. Like I would outpoint anyone, and you just drop it down, and you just got to get rid of that power.
Exactly.
Even if you're a big guy, don't hold it in, because you're just going to be hobby horsing the whole time.
Yeah, and that's what happens. You know, you sort of you get hit by the gas, and the boat's just doing this the whole time, and you just want to be spilling the breeze when it's that windy and driving fast.
With this construction of sail, like in the conditions that you've been sailing in, when you're sheeting in upwind, does it have any tendency to hook? Do you have to watch for that, or do you find it just flattens out? It doesn't really overly stand up?
In the second day we had a couple of days ago, I was concerned about hooking the leech when it's quite light. But once I've found the breeze is 10 knots, I think you can.
Yeah, but in the lighter stuff, it will come past.
Yeah, because it's just not enough
and you'll
pressure.
just see it on the woolies.
There's not enough wind to hold it, or there's not enough force on the sail.
Yeah.
And if you're forcing it tight with the main sheet, then it's gonna hold up. It's gonna hook. And you have to be careful of that in the lighter breezes. That's for sure.
Just interested.
Can I just talk?
Yeah. Oh, well, I thought that's what it was all about. It wasn't
When we
just
had
me.
the upper stage tight and the intermediate sluice, it held the mast up a bit, so you had to drop your Traveller down a bit, and you had to be very careful of your leech.
Okay.
Because we've got the lowers tighter, the whole mast can go to leeward.
Yep.
And as that curves in that direction, the tip ends up to leeward, it takes the leech out with it. So these sails are nice in the sense that you can sheet them on hard, and you're not necessarily doing that, which is what you do when you've got the upper stage tight.
The top's going down.
Just as a point of explanation, because this is a seismic change in the class. We had tight lowers once 40 years ago, but all the masts broke. So now we've got stiffness. We've got to understand it's a different dynamic happening in the rig, and we're bending it at that point there, and then it's going off, and as it goes off, it takes the leech with it, and so it's a different function, and it's delivering a good result. So, but it's a mindset that some of us, the older guys, have got to get past. Some of the things you're like.
I guess I'm lucky enough to come into the class and the stiffness have been there, and haven't had that background knowledge, which is always good, but sometimes hard, like you say, to change into a new phase. But you're exactly right. The way that the mast is set up, lowers holding it tight, and the top's going off.
Years ago, I had the absolute other extreme of this. Those were so loose, they hardly ever went tight. And I hooked the whole head over like a sailboard sail, and the leaks just followed. Sag at the mast followed the sag at the leak, so the sheet tension was less, and it was a very nice setup.